in your fertility. I love saying it all in just like one little word. Fertility, too much in my lips. Increasing your fertility naturally conceive without having to, do certain things like IVF or donor eggs or, even things like ICSI and all of these other. We don't want to do all of those things in order to have a baby. We shouldn't have to, right? You shouldn't have to put up with needles. You shouldn't have to take, drugs and do different things and dramatically change your life in a way that's not even that's not that good for you and not sustainable. And I think that's one of the biggest statement. But yeah, I'm trying to just do a very relaxed way. So just bear with me because a lot of times in my life, I talk very fast. I'm doing a whole lot of stuff. And my goal now is to just be a little bit more consistent on here, just come on here more often and share more information with you, and also to offer a little bit more support. And in that way, I won't have to feel like I have to, dump a lot of information, a lot of, tips and suggestions and things on you all in like a 30-minute video. Consistently more often, we can take a little bit more time. All right, so it looks like it's playing. But yes, so I have been reaching out to some of you within the last week or two, and some of the feedback that I've been getting is that, a lot of you want to know how women like over 40 can conceive, how you can conceive over 40. Some of you, one lady, she reached out and she just found out that she had fertility. How you can get started if you're watching. And so these are some of the things I'm going to be talking about here today. But I'm also adding the aspect that, it doesn't have to take you forever. It doesn't have to take you a long time in order to increase your fertility, right? So we're going to be talking about how to increase your fertility faster, how to increase your fertility naturally, so that way you can get pregnant. So today, I'm not sure when summer actually begins. Let's check that out because I think it's like probably today or tomorrow. So let's check that out. I'm gonna start keeping up with this summer solstice and the winter solstice, so we can get this together. But you really can do certain things that can increase your fertility, enhance your chances of conception. All right, so summer starts. Let's check out when it ends this year. Okay, so summer starts June 21st. So it hasn't even begun yet. Still have about a month. Okay, so this is perfect for prep time. This will give us some good. Okay, it can take as little as 2 months. The recommended time is 3 to 4 months. Right. I will go on and say for some of you who have been having fertility issues for a long time, you really is planning and all things not going as planned. So, this video is acting. So June, July, August, September. So you have, again, there's 3 months there. Naturally, you're going to want a lot of women. So you do need to plan, and it does take a certain amount of planning, because when we're talking about planning for fertility, actually planning for your child, we're looking at things like your lifestyle, your mindset. We're looking at things like even what's behind. Why don't you want to change it? If you're feeling inside because you've been trying for a long time, what have you been going through that is causing you to be sad, to be, depressed, emotional, about, your journey to conception, just not your journey. That's also because there's no planning, again, for most relatively quickly, and that is why we're told to use birth control and to avoid intercourse, and to all of these things. It implies that it's so easy to conceive, when for a lot of women it actually isn't. Even when younger, even when you're not like in your mid 20s and 30s, before that age, it is also not as easy for younger woman to conceive. So like even if you're like in your like late teens and things like that, that is not necessarily the most fertile stage for some women, right? And so we were told that, hey, look, it's super easy to conceive. You're probably about to get pregnant really, really easily, when it's not exactly true. So, if you're continuing to try, not knowing certain things, then that can make you depressed, that can make you sad, because then you start to feel like there's something wrong with you, when there isn't necessarily something wrong with you. You could just be doing things at the wrong time, and doing certain things that are reducing your fertility, right? And so when we're talking about planning for fertility, again, you have to kind of have an idea of like what goes behind the planning, what you need to plan for, what a plan looks like, right? What is a fertility plan? How do you plan for fertility? What does that mean? And that is where I help women to figure out. But I'm letting you know here, close the door, mama. But I'm letting you know that is one of the things that you should look into, planning around your lifestyle, planning around your schedule, things like that. It all is part of the plan, right? And so you want to plan, and again, if you're planning to have a baby this year, this summer, time to get to work, right? And so you really want to have this stuff sort of figured out, and it's okay. It's okay to give yourself some time to figure out your plan. If you are doing this on your own, it's really, there's no rush, you don't want to add rush to this. Like, even though I'm saying, hey, you can get pregnant by this year, that doesn't mean that you have to put extra pressure on yourself. I'm not about adding extra pressure to nobody. No more stress, no extra pressure, none of that on, and like the only pressure is that, hey, if you want to do this, these are the things that you need to do, and you need to do them now. Now, you could delay this for as long as you want. You can extend whatever you are doing, and things might still happen faster depending on what you're delaying and stretching out. What and I'll explain what I mean a little bit more. But one way to sort of promote or ensure that you can conceive as soon and as quickly as possible is to start now, but at the same time, go about this in a realistic way where although you may anticipate conceiving by this summer, you're still realistic and open that things might not happen exactly as you planned. They might happen sooner, might happen a month or two later. And so when I say delaying and stretching things out, what I mean by that is there are certain activities and certain actions that you can do in nutrition. But there are certain self-care activities, and there are certain exercises that you can do, and more frequently that you do them. Again, this can promote and other. Even if you just want to get rid of your fertility issues, the more frequently, consistently, and committed that you are to some, your body also is prepared to do things, and your body also is prepared to do things at a given moment, as long as it has been given the time and to go through the process that it takes to get there. And so what I mean by that, for example, improving your egg quality relatively fast. You can conceive in about 5 minutes. Oh my gosh. Hold on, I'm coming. All right, so let's pay for it. He's not going to just already a pretty easy in your life, and you just can't figure out why you're not able to conceive unless again your life is all stress involved, because life is what it is for some people. You have different dynamics such as work, neighbors, certain family members, just certain, again, things going on behind the scenes in your life may be causing you stress, right? And when you get to yourself outside of the what isn't right now, you know what I mean? Like you get to take yourself out of all the things that are wrong, that are not going as planned, all the things that you think are your fault, all the things that you think you have no control over, and you get to start to have the control. You get to start to planning is like it's one of the most beautiful parts, of anything that I'm doing. Like even when I'm constantly always planning, and like just trying to find more ways to make things better for like what I'm doing, right? And so like to me, that's one of the best parts, because it's like you get to see, oh, if I put this here and if I do this over there, create this, recreate this, then I can have this, or then this can be this way, or I can have this outcome, or what I thought I could not do, now there is a better way or another way, right? And so planning is like it's important, right? But I think even what's more beautiful after the planning is going to tell you. It's going to tell you, look, you're telling me you eat, and you've been doing the stuff we've been telling you to do, and that our stuff that we, all our chemicals is working, and this how you can't conceive, right? So unless that's what you look like, so they might clone some babies for you while you're not looking. You probably pregnant. You probably still not pregnant. A lot of you probably got some babies out there. Okay, you probably got some babies. This is the part where it starts sounding crazy. Yes, it is. But a lot of women probably do have some babies. I'm just gonna say that. Leave that right there. Tammy on, if you watching, you know what I'm talking about. But a lot of women who think that they do not have any babies, a lot of women who have probably had like some failed IVF treatments, who have some donor eggs. The planning part, you want to plan for your mind. So you need to put yourself in a different frame of mind. If whatever you have been doing has not been working, if the way you have been thinking about approaching improving your fertility or conceiving, conception, why you can't conceive, what's wrong with you, if that has not been working, it's time to trash that mindset. It's time to open your mind, start to think differently, start to what were we doing before a lot of the things that are happening now? How were we eating? How were we living? How were we thinking? What were our crazy woman? Okay, put that crazy woman on pause. This stuff, a lot of this stuff we doing now is absolutely insane, and I think that's why, again, a lot of vibrates on a frequency of 100. Hi, baby. Hi. And then we have a lot of the synthetic. The idea is that if we're wearing, unnatural fabrics and fibers and things like this, it is lowering our frequency. But when you're wearing things like linen and wool, you are increasing your frequency. Can you close the door? Can you close the door? And so, you want to looking at, again, being in your home with. What are you wearing? What are you sort of allowing into your space? What are you who are you allowing into your space? What type of energies and frequencies are you doing? And so, doing things going to raise your frequency, even just like having more qualities, they're going to also help, but again, the implementation, you have to implement this stuff, and Sure, a lot of it can be random. A lot of it can happen when it happens, right? But like I mentioned, if you want to increase your chances of conception sooner, faster, if you want to get pregnant by this summer, a lot of these things you're going to have to start getting to work and being a little more strategic. So let's say you can afford a linen to wear, a whole bunch of different linen outfits. Get you one and wear that thing as much as you can for, within a 3-month period. You know what I'm saying? Stop using certain chemicals in your home for a certain amount of time, for 3 months. Start using more natural, supplies, cleaning supplies, dish detergents, laundry. Ooh, you hurt yourself? Whatever it is, start using more natural stuff. Meditate, go for the walks every day if you have to. You're welcome, baby. Just go on a fast, a plan. You do it within a certain amount of time, or a certain time. If your goal is to conceive within a certain amount of time, if that's too stressful for you, you give yourself more time. And the thing that I've sort of noticed is that a lot of women who have magically or miraculously conceived stop experimenting products that don't work for your body, don't work for your hair. It causes fibroids. Maybe you stop. It's unnatural. You don't need to do it. Are eliminating things from your lifestyle over a 25-year period or a 15-year period, right? And so for a lot of these women, they are increasing their fertility. They don't know it. Their fertility might, maybe their quality is in a little decline. Okay, all right, so that's my little doing one. And then I'll tell you my reproductive health and more after about 50. My womb restore Yoni steam. This one is the 4 ounce. Okay. So she's still singing in the background. All right, so this Yoni steam here. This is one thing that you can do, okay, that can help to improve fertility faster. So if you can see that, I know that this light. Yes, baby. Closing mama. Yes. Right? So much into that, but I don't even, I guess it worked, because I requested it. My brother would make it for me. It was, a little bit less than that. It was still painful. It was still, there was still some, heavy bleeding and the color, not being as bright as it is now. But anyways, so I noticed some difference, okay? And again, this is when I was 16, so between 16 and 18, I'm started to a little difference. Nothing major, still had period pain, still had long periods. It wasn't until I was, let's just say about, this had to be, okay. So I became vegetarian about 10 years ago, 11 years ago. Okay. And then so I started to notice my periods needed to be more like 5-day periods, 5 to 7-day periods, and they were lighter. It was more manageable. Still had period pain, still noticed when I was about to get my period. Still had a breast fibroid. Okay, so I had that breast fibroid since the time I was 14. And then about, how many years would this be? About 2017. Okay, 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So about 6 years ago. Wow, time's flying. So about 6 years ago, I was able to heal my breast fibroid. And the way I was able to do this is because in a short amount of time, I had changed my diet. And it wasn't even just that. I had went on a road trip, okay, for about 6 months. And in this road trip, everything changed. So the way how I was eating changed. I was at the beach a lot. If you go back to my old videos, you can see I've made videos on the beach. So during that time, I was on a road trip. Florida, LA, Texas, you name it, right? And so my diet changed a whole lot because, you have to eat a certain way when you're traveling, going through so many states like that. So my diet changed, and I started doing, more things. I started to do yoga. I well, I had always been yoga, but like, oh, you're on the beach, do some yoga, whatever. But I just started doing little things a little bit more consistently. But when I got back, that is when things really turned up. Because now I took everything that I had been doing on the road trip. I took it back and I was able to do, and I basically created a routine for myself. I created a plan for myself. I was doing things. So I was eating a certain way at a certain time consistently every day. And so after about 2 months, I was, feeling for my breast fibroid was completely gone. And I was like, where did it go? It was part of me. It was part of my breast. Um, Not only that, my periods had shrunk down to 3 days. Okay. And they were pain free. No, and I haven't had pain since. No period pain, no in the bed, no, I can't do this, can't do it. Haven't had that type of pain since, okay? Almost can't remember it, right? And so I had to take some time to think about what is it that I did. And called at my prep time or whatever you call it. But once I got back, I really put in the work, now you're back road trip. Things got back. I was able to do a lot of things, even though they were healthy, and I wanted to do. I was eating fresher vegetables, eating way more vegan than I was before. I was working on my mindset every single day, and doing self-care activities, fertility stuff. I also it was intentional. I wasn't exactly trying to feel my breast. I wasn't trying to get breast work. I wasn't thinking about it like that. I had that goal, periods that went down to about 3 days. Okay, still regular to the day. I had, but I had over years that I was able to have faster results. It's just every now and then I would feel for it because it was about the size of my thumb, different, veins and whatnot. Positive. I said, you know what? A lot of women who actually have fibroids, they can benefit from some of the same information. It helped them improve their fertility. At the time, there was a lot of information talking about how the fertility rate was declining all across the board for all races, including Black women. And I was like, that's weird. That's suspicious. Because, we're typically known to be, more fertile. So I wanted to share this information to help women to learn how to improve their fertility, how they can get some of the same results that I had got, no matter what your age, as long as you haven't gone through once or twice or 3 or 4 times. But I'm crying about now. And I think that I know you have difficulty being difficulty to start doing a webinar. Let's see, I go over some of this. You can go, there's a lot of work now get to the what to do part, right? And a lot of the dangers and things that you need to avoid that can harm your fertility, that harm your egg quality, right? So if you want to conceive a baby this year, if you want to improve your fertility this year, if you want to improve your egg quality, you definitely want to come to